exercise, which I will come back to later. It's very, very interesting. And then we did a debate, which the picture below is a group that had to debate whether the toilet paper goes over or under. And that was very funny. And yeah, day 2, sorry, this was still day 1. We had a speaker come in called Tony Tucker, and he just went through leadership theory and stuff, you know, the theory of what it takes to be a good leader. And then we did an activity where we had to build the tallest tower out of straws and pins. And the towers were tested by strength. They were dropped off from 2 meters and by height as well. So whoever got the highest tower and whichever tower stood up when it got dropped won. And the catch with this exercise was there was one leader and they had a specific leadership type that they had to use guiding everyone. And we had a dictator, and, you know, a dictator is very my way or, you know, no way. And I think the big picture he was trying to get to us was different types of leaders get different results. So the better leader you are, the better results you get. Whereas, you know, if you're more strict and, you know, no one really likes you, you can't really get the job done. So that was very entertaining. So day 2, we had people from the Rape Crisis Center come in and talk to us about, you know, rape and sexual assault and mental health and all that. And that was very interesting, I guess. And it was good that they were spreading awareness about it, because a lot of people don't know what to do in those situations and all that. And we also had goal setting where we like mapped out all our goals for the future and what we're going to do and all that. And then we had a lady for the HBDI come in and just go through the results with us. I personally got majorly yellow, which means I'm metaphoric, I learned visually, and I'm conceptual and all that. And hold on, let me just... So I'm in the yellow group, which means just more laid back and more artistic and creative. And I'm holistic, so like I see the bigger picture of stuff. And then my second was green, which means I'm more into details and planning and organization. And it was very interesting. And then she made us stand in the second photo, you can see the circle with the different colors. She made us stand in our color and then switch sides with the other ones. And then we had to write a newspaper article in the mind of the group who were intimidating. I mean, what's the word? We had to put ourselves in the other group's shoes and just write a newspaper article from their perspective, that's it. And that was very interesting because a newspaper is written in a very traditional way, I guess. So it was kind of hard to, you know, visualize how different people think. And that was very fun to do. And then we did a $500 challenge, which was we had to choose a charity to donate $500 to. And we had to convince everyone that our charity was worth it. Like, not that the other charities weren't worth it, but it's just, you know, another great communication skill practicing. And we ended up donating to UN Women. So that was a very tough decision to make, I guess. Yeah, and this is why my favorite speakers. I really learned a lot from him because I think the activities he did was really easy to learn from because I'm a hands-on kind of learner. So, you know, he came in and talked to us about what a good leader consists of and ethical responsibilities of a good leader. So as you can see there, the leader's trustworthy, true to their word, honest, friendly, but direct, knows their people, so they have good interpersonal skills, I guess, and their team can come to them when they need to, and they're supportive, and they're humorous, and they lead by example. And ethical responsibilities, I think that's kind of self-explanatory. Like, if you have to question what's good or wrong, then you should probably not be in that position. You should let someone else take control. And a good leader always does the ethically right thing, I think he was trying to get across. And this was photos from the activity, where we had 5 or 6 different activities, and each time we went around, there was a different person in the group that was the leader. And we had to apply what we learned in the classroom, I guess. And he put it in a very simple way, which is PISER, PISA. And a good leader plans, implements, supports, and evaluates, and then reviews. And he said to us that a lot of time should be spent planning, because if you have the plan all down and well, then the rest of the activity will go great. And we learned that the hard way, because the first activity we did, we really did not do that well. The upper left photo is the first activity, and we had to build the tallest tower with the materials provided. And we didn't go very far because everyone was talking over each other and no one was really in control. And when the mentor gave us feedback, we finally, we didn't evaluate throughout the process. And then through the review, we learned that we should all take turns. And then the second activity we did was the one on the left. We had to, the area between the cones was lava, and we had to get our whole team across. And by stepping on the pads, and we couldn't take, there always had to be one body part on the pad, otherwise it will sink into the lava, so we lose that pad. And we did a lot better on that activity because we actually listened, we communicated, and everyone got a say, and everyone put in their idea. And so that worked out pretty well. And then the last one, which is the bottom right, we had to make a help sign so that a helicopter that was coming over could see us and rescue us. And I was the leader in that activity. And that was, we performed so well in that activity. Like, we got it done in like under 2 minutes. And it was amazing because we learned so much from the first activity to the last that we did. And yeah, I think we all learned well from that. So day 3, we had Katarina Hodgkinson come in, and she is a politician. I didn't really like this because I'm not really into politics, I guess. And she didn't really talk much about leadership, more about politics. She just gave us a political lesson, really. She talked about, how the Australian government works and all that. And, some people found it, I didn't. I didn't learn a lot, and I was just bored halfway through. Then we had Kate come in, Women in Leadership, and she just talked to us about how to not underestimate yourself, because she dropped out of college at 16 and she went into the labor force, and she was removing asbestos from buildings, and she was very, very cool about the labor rights and all that, and she became a delegate for the work union, I think. And she entered politics through that channel, I guess. And I really liked her talk because it kind of inspired everyone, not to give up. Doesn't matter where you started, you can still get really far. And she was a really bad kid in school, you could say. She wasn't the best student, and she is now in politics. So I guess that's really impressive for someone that started off where she did. And I really liked her. Little talk. And we had ethical leadership with a superintendent, and he just kind of went through everything else we kind of heard. So, or anything you there here. And this was my second favorite. No, this was actually probably my favorite. He came in and talked to us about happiness and the meaning of life. And I feel like a lot of people enjoyed that because, it's a major factor in everyone's life to like be happy. And he just gave us a simple tool to, I guess,
Have we just lost Mata?
I think so. Her machine is frozen, so session is frozen.
Yep.
Right. Well, that's a shame. Oh, she's back again.
oh, okay. Sorry about
No, you froze up.
that, guys.
Share again.
Yeah. I guess. Wait, where was I? Yep, so as I was saying, he just gave us facts about, he was saying that material that already, but it was nice to like have facts to back it up as well. And I felt like I could relate to what he was saying because I come from a third world country, so I've kind of had nothing, I guess, if you want to say. But when I went back to Sierra Leone in 2014, I was a lot more happier over there, even though the people around me, I guess, were poorer, but they were like so lively and they were happy, and you could like never tell that they were in tough situations because they're like family. Like your whole neighborhood is just one big family. Like you could be walking down the street and just a random, like me, and because I used to hang out with all the kids in the neighborhood and we'll like go for walks and we'll go swimming and like just to the marketplace and stuff. And any random kid could just join and we'll just like instantly become friends. And you can't really do that here. Like you can't just walk to a random group and be like, hey, I'm going to join you guys. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I could relate to what he was saying a lot more than others, I guess. So I really enjoyed his talk. And I'm just going to go through the self-care aims. So sleep, obviously, is a major part of happiness. Like, if you don't get enough sleep, you're going to be grumpy all the time. Exercise, the body needs exercise. Love. So, human interactions, connections, food, enough to live comfortably. Like if you can afford rent, food, and all the basic stuff, then that's really all you need. Anything more than that, it won't make you any meditation and study. So yeah, and the little quote on the side, it's inherent in human nature to always seek meaning. I really like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed his talk and I feel like everyone else did because it's such an important thing to talk about, happiness, I guess. You can have all this success and you could still be really sad. So yeah. And then we had the dinner with Ken. I really enjoyed his talk at the dinner. And I don't know if Ross did, but I did because afterwards I was like, I'm totally gonna like kayak down the Mississippi River. But yeah, the way he talked was really entertaining because he was funny as well, so it was pretty engaging. Some of the other speakers we had come in were very flat, they were very boring, so it was very hard to stay attentive. But yeah, Rob talked about how he and his best friend kayaked down the Mississippi River, and it was very entertaining and very funny. So yeah. Day 4, we had people from the shelter box come in. Shelter box is it's a box that comes with a tent, some basic shelter needs. Pretty. That's kind of behind the name, I guess. I don't know how to explain this pretty. But they came in and they set up, they opened the box and showed us what was inside and how to set up the tent and all the things that come with it. And they showed us another kit that they also send out. And it's about, for $500, you could afford, I guess, half the things in the tent, I think it was. But I'm not quite sure. But yeah, that was entertaining to watch. Then we had leadership and sports, which was pretty much everything else we'd heard. So there was not much to that, but it was still nice, go through it. And then we had youth leadership. This Brooke is 20 years old, and she has taught in Fiji, and she's volunteered a lot, and she won Young Australian of Yas, I think it was. Yeah, but it was really nice to have her come in because she also came to RYLA, and I felt like a lot more people could relate because it's like, wow, she's 20, she's my age, she's doing all this awesome stuff, and if she can do it, then so can I. This is the activity we also did on day 4. You had to climb the crates and see how high you could go, and at first it looks hard, but then when you actually do it and rushing through, it's like, I'm gonna reach the top, but it's a lot harder than it seems because it's very hard to balance, especially if you're taller and bigger, it's a lot harder to balance. And I think the message behind this activity was, if your ballet team can't hold you up, then you're gonna fall. So I guess you can go as far as you want, but if you don't have a supportive team, then you're not gonna get very far on your own. And I think that was the message behind that activity. So that was a lot of fun. Day 5 had communication, which we just talked about, keeping yourself safe for the internet and the way you want people to perceive you, I guess, on the internet, and just stuff like that. So, and then we did the UN 12 months, so we had to write a letter to ourselves about all the goals we wanted to reach in 12 months and where we wanted ourselves. And in a year's time, they're gonna send the letters back to us at our home. So we'll get the letter in the mail and we'll read it to ourselves and just see how far we've gotten in those 12 months. So I'm pretty excited to have that back. Now the bag, throughout the whole stay at RYLA, we had some free time, so we could go back. And there was a stash of magazines that we could cut out pictures from and stick onto our bag that means something to us. So whatever popped out to us, we stuck onto the bag. And this was my bag in the picture. And then on the 5th day, we had to go to our little groups and go through what the pictures on our bags meant. And at first you'd think, oh, it won't get that serious. But a lot of people got really into it, and it was really full on. Like, we had people crying, and it was very, deep, I guess, is the word. It's amazing how little pictures from a magazine could mean so much to a person. All the little things you stick on say something about you, where you're from, or where you're going, or where you want to go. And, that hit deep for a lot of people, and we had tears in the room. So, I could go through that if you guys wanted me to, after the presentation, I guess. And then we had a mini Olympics. It was more of a scavenger hunt, really, but it was a lot of fun, I guess, and I really enjoyed that. And we had a lot of laughs. The bottom right picture is one of the people in our groups had to be blindfolded, and the other one had to direct them to find as many cotton balls in the room as they could, and that was very funny. And the one at the top left, we had to do a little war cry and a little dance and perform it to the rest of the group. That was very hilarious as well. Also on day 5, we had a candlelit ceremony. I'm not sure how to explain this. So we sit in a circle and we turn the lights off and there's just a candle on. And when the candle comes to you, you have to turn to your right and left and say something nice about the person next to you, what you feel about them, what you've learned from them, what type of person you think they are. And we had a lot of tears there as well, because it's amazing how well you can get to know somebody in just 6 days. Like, we all got so close, and yeah, it's definitely a lot of bonds that will last for a very long time. And that was really amazing. I'm really happy I got to experience that. Then we had a party. The pictures from the parties. The picture at the bottom right is pretty embarrassing, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of dancing that night. So, and on the 6th day, we just kind of got our certificates and cleaned up and said goodbye and all that. And yeah, that was pretty much the 6th day. What I've learned and gained from this experience is, you know, all the practical stuff, how to be practically a better leader. And I find myself actually applying that to my day-to-day life afterwards, when I left. And it's amazing the improvements I've made when I'm interacting with people in general. And it's given me a major confidence boost. Like, I wouldn't say I had low self-esteem, but there's always room for improvement. And now I see myself doing things I probably wouldn't do, just because going to RYLA has boosted my confidence a lot. And it's made it easier for me to do the things that I want to do in my life. I've made a lot of new friends and connections that I will keep for a very long time. So yeah, and of course, major personal improvements. I have more drive and enthusiasm to reach my goals. So I'm actually organizing things a lot more and more faster. And I'm reaching out to people, you know, do you want to do this? You know, this is a good idea. Do you want to be a part of that? And yeah, and I'm really happy that RYLA has given me that, because there's so many things I want to do, and RYLA has given me enough confidence boost to actually act on them. So it's cleared my mind and soul. Like, being away from the internet and everybody that I usually interact with has been really good on me mentally. Like, you don't notice until, you know, when you're going back home and you have internet connection and you're like, wow, you know, I think a lot differently than the way I did. My mind's clearer, and I'm a lot happier with myself and everyone around me. So yeah. And of course, I want to thank every single one of you, because I wouldn't have been able to go if it wasn't for each and every single one of you. And I'm so happy that Ross reached out to me for this opportunity, because I didn't even know it existed. And I'm happy I decided to go, because I was having doubts between. I was just like, you know what, let's try something new. And I will be forever grateful for that, because I learned so much than I would have if I didn't go. And I still would have, you know, not been able to reach my goals if I didn't. And I've met a lot of amazing people, and I've done a lot of amazing things. And yeah, I want to thank you all very much for that. So yeah, that's all for my presentation. Hope you liked it.
Yes, wonderful presentation. Thank you for that. Wonderful presentation.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Fatmata. Ross, you.
Well, just wondering if anyone's got any questions first. If there's anything people want to ask.
I suppose one question for Fatmata. Did Rotary get mentioned at all during the 6 days?
Yeah, constantly.
Good.
You know, you get a lot of positive things out of these sort of things. Were there any negatives in it?
I felt like there was way too many lectures. Like, we had to do a lot of sitting and listening. And most of us wanted more like hands-on activities that we could, a lot of us learned when we're more hands-on. And most of the lectures were just like repeats of what we've already heard. And, you know, and I felt like that could be a major, you know, point to improve on. But apart from that, it was pretty good.
Fatmata, have you given the organisers any feedback on that?
Yep. We on the 6th day, we all wrote feedback papers and
Right.
stuff, and we get them. So
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
Yeah.
So if you had to do some thinking on the weekend, on the week, where do you think you'd like to be in 12 months' time?
Ooh. I would love to have traveled and taken more photos. Probably start on my photojournalism career, I guess, because I really want to do that. And the course I'm taking at CIT offers a competition at the end of the course where the winner gets to travel with the UN. And I really hope I win that because I feel like that would be a great starting point. Otherwise, if my photojournalism doesn't work out, I guess I'm really into arts, so like singing, dancing, and performing. So, that's always like something to do on the side. But yeah, I guess overall, I just hope I'm happy, I guess. And I keep healthy connections with the people around me. Yeah. But I guess photojournalism is where I really want to go at the moment. So hopefully in 6 months, I would have traveled and I would have taken more photos and, all that fun stuff. So yeah, hope that answers.
How many photographs did you take throughout the course?
I was thinking about bringing my camera with me, but I figured I'd always be moving and stuff, so I wouldn't actually get time to use it. But yeah, I'm kind of happy I didn't take it because it kind of let me experience it more. Otherwise, worrying about taking photos and stuff. But Rob took heaps and heaps of photos, so I guess I made up for it. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah.
Okay, well, on behalf of the club, I'd like to thank you for speaking tonight and giving a very positive feedback on RYLA and hopefully some changes to the way that you may be thinking about going forward. You'll be pleased to know that you said that they've repeated a lot of stuff at the conference. Well, when we heard Peter speaking about the Mississippi, and he finished up by saying he would always love to come back and talk to anyone, but because he lives in England, the expenses could be quite large. So when I approached him afterwards and said, well, we're an E-Club and we'd like you to speak at one of our future meetings, and the times work out good because you can get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and talk to us at 8 o'clock at night. And he said he would love to. So we're going to repeat that one at some stage in the future. So you can hear him again, and because I think the club will enjoy that speak.
Yeah, definitely.
It's great to see lots of photos of the other people, and I hope that they share their photos with you because it'd be great to see some of your photos of you doing the crate stacking and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got quite high. And from my point of view, I'd really like to catch up with you in the future and touch base with you. The thing I'd like to emphasise is that now that you've done RYLA, you're now a RYLArian and a member of the Rotary alumni. So there are lots of things where Rotary can support you or help you or provide a network for you if you're so interested in the future. And we'd love you to stay in connection with the club and keep us informed about where you're going. So thank you very much for your speech, and hopefully it's the start of a long relationship with Rotary.
Definitely. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Marta, would you be willing to send David your presentation and he can put it up for the people who weren't able to see it tonight?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I recorded the session as well, so I'll put that up on our YouTube channel. So you'll see yourself on YouTube, Fatmata. So, okay.
We're now famous.
Yeah, you're now famous. Yeah, we get thousands of.
I'm not sure how many people we've got.
Well, we get a couple a week every time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Look, it's mainly there for our club members that missed the meeting and for people that want to go back and review the meeting.
Yeah.
They can go back and review how it went. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, David, Fatmata and Ross. it would be lovely to see you every so often, Fatmata. So if you stay in touch and there's something of interest on, just feel free to hop on the meeting site. It'd be great. Can I just go around everybody and find out what you're up to? I'm not. Judy and Norm and I have had a meeting, but we can talk about that. Judy can tell you where we're at. Has anyone else got anything, Lyndall?
No, it's been fairly quiet on the correspondence front. Anything I have had in, I've passed on. I'm looking at, I've put a call into the Hellenic Club about the 17th of March, but I haven't had them call, but they said they'd call back, but not today, obviously. So I'll try and chase that up tomorrow so that by the next meeting we'll actually have some more details to put up about that event. Yeah. And otherwise, life has been about done.
You're busy. Yeah. No, thanks for that. Ross, what's happening with the ducks? Have you got a race in mind, or?
Okay, not specifically, no. I'm intending to approach the Balloon Festival to see if they want to do a short race there. Ross Ellis decided to pike today and actually went for breakfast at Kingston and rang us up when he got there and he said, "Hey, do you realise this harbour here would be a great place to have a duck race?" So he was obviously thinking about ducks while he was with his family, and we did some discussing about how we could do it. And if we follow the Sussex Inlet and just raise 400 ducks on a Sunday morning or something with all the breakfast people, we might actually end up making $1,500 a week. So we'll talk about that further, come up with a proposal and see if we can convince the Kingston Chamber of Commerce, or whatever they're called, Kingston Foreshore Authority, to let us run duck races down there.
Oh, that's good.
And promote Rotary.
No, that's great. That's good. That sounds like a good site for doing it. Yeah.
But remember, we've got enough ducks to be able to put 400 down the coast as well. If we've got 10,000 ducks, so we can give you. I'm happy to get some out of my garage. If you want to run you run your own duck races. Yeah.
Look, there's duck races today at Huskisson. I think a couple of weeks ago they were at Nowra.
Yep.
And Sussex. So that's all been in the last few weeks. So today they had the lawnmower races at the showgrounds. So that was South Nowra did that one.
Okay, one other matter. Just to report back, I attended the Burley Griffin Rotary Club last week to talk about fellowships. Not one member of the club was a member of a fellowship, and I've got 8 expressions of interest that I have to give them the details back, and hopefully they will all then sign up and we'll have a number of new members of fellowships. I also promoted the idea of having a joint meeting with our club and inviting them to see how an e-club is run, because as we found out last week, normal Rotarians may be a bit afraid of technology. So if we make it easy for them, show them what happens, we may be able to have a great time doing this with other clubs over time. And I've got a meeting with Tuggeranong Rotary next Tuesday. So I'll be going on there to talk about fellowships primarily, but I'll also mention the e-clubs as well.
Oh, that's good. Thanks, Ross. Sounds very positive. Okay, Judy, you want to get to... Yep. You're up to date on dream cricket.
Okay, we had a good meeting, and in fact we're focusing at the moment primarily on the clinic days that we're going to have on the 7th and 8th of March. And Margaret will sort of focus on the southern one, where we've got a lot of good contacts and commitment already. And I've sent out a bulletin of some sort of a letter to all of those who might be interested in the northern one, which would be Havenley and North Nowra School and Formulary Primary School, and with the promise to ring them, not next week, but the one after, if they haven't got back to me and committed and sworn allegiance and things like that. So that's got it going along quite well. And we're also doing some thinking about the gala day, which I think is in September. But fundraising will be a key part of that. I just wanted to check with Lyndall as to when and what you're expecting out of the community grants application and so on.
Look, I don't think they actually get announced until much later in the year, Judy. I think it's about May. Double check those dates, but it's quite a long time between the application closing and the date of announcement. I'll double check for you though.
Lyndall, they have to be paid out before the end of the financial year, so you'll know by about May.
Yeah, I think it's May, but it is quite a bit I meant later in the financial year, not in the calendar year. So yeah, I think it's around about May from memory, but I'll double check that date for you.
Okay. And what you've specifically asked for, I think $5,000?
I think it was like 4,600 or something like that. And I put in an estimate of costs for the things, and I think it came to about 4,600 and something. Something. I just, looking at some prices online and making an estimate about what I thought it would cost us. Now, often what happens what I've experienced in the past is I've taken list prices, and when you actually go to order things, when they find out it's for something like Rotary or Scouts, you often get better prices for it. So we may end up with, able to get more than we've actually asked for, if you know what I mean. But that is then dependent on whether or not we get the full amount that we've asked for, if we get anything at all.
The next step I need to take is to look at community grants of various sorts from particularly Viola or Mulwarry, which I don't think on reading them they will give us a big grant, but they'll probably give us a donation of $1,000. But without looking at their information that we get a bigger grant, but they're on holidays until next week anyway, so I can't ask them. But there are a few other people that we will chase, but we will need more fundraising during the year, I think, for things like transport and so on and so on. But the planning's, it's looking quite good, and all the people in the northern area do know about this date of the 8th of March, so hopefully that will all come together quite well.
Just as a matter of interest,
I don't think.
Judy, when we were building the first dialysis centre in the Western Desert, we compiled a list of all of the people that actually gave grants in Australia. That was quite surprising. There was a staggering list. Everyone from the Mercs to the Packers, they actually have personal grants, right down to the NRMA, every single bank and insurance company. It was staggering, the number that were out there. And we applied for a lot of them. We were staggered by the number we got, actually. Even the community grants from Faxia in those days, and now called Department of Social Security, we ended up with $6,000 out of them just to buy tools and things. Yeah. So
in way of setting up, if we get Lyndall's grant and maybe one other, and then people donating from Rotary and so on, Rotary clubs giving kits, then what we really need are things for, prizes on the gala day and sausages and, running costs, and they tend to be a little bit harder. We don't need huge amounts of capital equipment.
Judy, I think too, we were thinking that looking at the possibility of a district grant for that too.
Yes.
That wouldn't give us the full amount that we'd need though. That wouldn't. I think
look, you might be
Ross and Bruce did
that. We got district grants. I've had a couple of them now. You get a couple of thousand because they have to share it between all the Rotary clubs in the district. But it's still worth it, right?
Yeah.
Just to put in an application form, which is pretty simple. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do that for the new financial year.
Right.
Is that right? Can somebody help me up there?
I'd put one in now because they're actually deciding the grants to be handed out before the end of this financial year.
Right. Okay.
The person
All
to
right.
ask
We'll look at it.
is Beth. Is not Beth. Mr. Woolley, because he's on the actual committee that hands out the money, so he's a good man to tell you the facts.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, that's good. No, that's good. As you were saying, David, it would be good if we can just, gradually build up from various sources. But there are a number of local sources we can go to, but certainly your experience with Kintore, how did you get onto all these sources for funding?
I did just a simple search of the internet, and I found sources of funding for community projects, and I found most of them there. Then I searched Rotary, and then all the community grants, and I was staggered by the list that was around. Even people that own, look, Australia's billionaires, the guy that owns Fortescue, he gives out tens of millions a year in grants, right? It's a rounding up error to him. It's nothing, right? So, all these guys give out large amount of money. The Packer family, I was surprised. We used to use them in Apex because they gave out millions every year. The Murdochs give out millions. Even the Snow Brothers, the local Canberra millionaires, they give out tens of millions, right? You just have to tap into them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's worth finding out. Yeah. Yeah.
But every bank, every insurance company, all of them had their own community grants, and you could get anything between 5,000 and 10,000 depending on what you wanted, right?
Right. Oh, that's worth examining. We'll get a look at all that. Actually, it'll probably be a good source for other projects that we might want to undertake too.
Yeah.
Now look, they get thousands of letters a year, begging letters, and most of them go in the bin. But so if you come up with a good case and a presented case and a report with reports and backing it, which we did for Kintore, you're on a mozza to win, right? Because something different. It's a proven outcome, benefit to the community, all of that. You will get some money.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, thanks, David. David, is there any more news on Kintore? How is that going at the moment? Is there any action there at all?
Yeah, you probably noticed all the Facebook pages of Sarah receiving all those awards in the last week. She received awards in the Indigenous Governance Awards. They got first prize for all Indigenous corporations in Australia. So that was really good.
Really?
Yeah, that's right. And there was probably a whole lot of other stuff up on Facebook about Kintore itself, along with 5 or 6 of the other different dialysis centres that are now working. Various things they were doing, and the bus that travels around the Northern Territory, and also South Australian government is after them now. They've realised how good this program is, and the South Australian government now wants Sarah to run programs right across South Australia. So the program is expanding rapidly. Yep.
That's really good.
Yeah, I think they're going to watch themselves, because some of these things can get too big too quickly, and you need to make one mistake and you can take the whole thing down. But anyway, it's working very, very well at present. And as I say, to win the Indigenous Governance Awards is that's key, because people trust you if you manage their money properly, right? Yeah. Yeah, because
that's excellent.
The trouble is, you see, there's a lot of Indigenous money gets wasted, and of course everyone refers to that rather than the programs that actually work. So yeah, it's actually key we get it to work, and managed and audited. Every cent is audited by Ernst & Young or someone.
Yeah. No, that's such a good program. It'd be a shame for it to.
Yeah. Well, anyway, look, I recommend you, if you are on Facebook, if you use Facebook, to connect with Sarah personally. She has her own page, but also with the bus. The bus has its own Facebook page. So does Western Desert Dialysis. They have their own Facebook pages, and they're actually quite exciting, because they do exciting things with limited amounts of money. They benefit a very poor section of the community, and they're doing something different every day. And then one of these days, I'll take you and we'll go up and we'll actually do something there. And that's when you can sit back, and that's when you can see Rotary at work, rather than Rotary just messing around, having parties and whatnot. This is Rotary doing actual hard work in Australia. Okay. So anyway, that's all. Yeah,
David, do you want to put No, David, do you want to put links up to those 2 pages on Facebook so that everyone
I'll put it
on the public page?
Yep. I'll put it up
Yeah, that'd
tonight.
be excellent.
Yep. I'll put the 3 links up, and I highly recommend you all join, connect, because, you're looking at some inspiring people here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thanks,
And
David.
just a quick one, Margaret. I got an email, text from Olivia today saying, please give my apologies. You can see the screen, I think. She said she's at school at the moment. She would love to be at our meeting, but they don't get the day off. And she will definitely keep us informed. So please keep in contact with her. For matters information, Olivia is our youth exchange student, year 11, currently in Austria.
Yes, I'm still in touch with the Ross, but she did put her Australia Day flag out this morning. She had it hanging out of a bedroom window. There's a photo on Facebook of it with the flag hanging out of the window of the building. So good on her.
Can you provide me with her details? Because one of our former Rotarians was the Austrian ambassador to Australia, and he's now back. He's now back in Vienna, and he is a very senior member of the Department of Foreign Affairs. So I want to give him her details so that he can go and visit her. He spent 5 wonderful years out here in Rotary in Australia. He and his wife and children came to Kintore with us, right? Which was pretty surprising. For members of the diplomatic corps.
That's amazing.
Yeah, diplomatic. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll do that, Ross. I can get the. We've got the details here. I'll just send them to you.
Just send them to me, and I'll send them to him, and he can go and pop in and see you one day.
Yeah. No, that'll be good. Yeah. Is anyone else, anything else to raise? Norm.
I just want to ask Russ what his mobile number is.
Mine?
Yeah.
0401 101 913. And we made an executive decision today, Beth, when we're doing the ducks, a number of them are still in cardboard boxes, which were starting to deteriorate. So it was suggested we get some plastic boxes to store them in. And so I went, so the club, under the authority of the secretary, sent me down to Bunnings, and I bought 10 boxes, and we've now got them all full of ducks. And obviously we'll be using the plastic boxes when we go out. So I'll send the invoice to Norm for about $220, I think it was, for the 10 of them. So don't be surprised. I'll email that through.
And I'm sure that the meeting will sanction that, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Yep.
Right, thank you. No, what's happening with the socks?
Well, Ross took how many boxes was it? About 8 boxes, 6 boxes or something.
Yeah, I took 6.
Yeah, and the other 8 are being taken by Rob, but for a project they've got going with Vinnie's. So.
All done. That's great.
Yeah, well done, that man.
Fortunately, Rotary at donations in kind don't take clothing. They've decided not to take clothing anymore.
Yeah.
Well, if you get any more, feel free to pass it up to Canberra. We'll find someone to use it.
Anything we find, we usually give to Dick, to be honest, but these were a little bit different. But yeah.
Yeah, well, Uniting Care in Canberra give them out to the homeless men that have breakfast every morning in Civic, the one outside the Uniting Church in Civic, and all the homeless men come there every morning. And they'll give some out there, because whoever you gave them to, Wesley or someone, they're going to give some to them as well. So the socks will come in extraordinarily handy for a lot of homeless men.
I took 3 boxes to St John Care, which is part of Anglicare. They ended up taking 2 boxes, and they said, would it be all right if they put some of them into their bargain hunter store at Queanbeyan? And I said I had no problem with that, because the money that they raise there all goes back to the care program. as well. So they took 400 in the end.
Mm.
And it clears out our garage, which we're very grateful for.
Yeah.
Right.
Just one more thing before we go, Margaret, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
While we were counting ducks today, which, blimey, Charlie, the most amazing Australia Day I ever had, but anyway, counting ducks. We discussed putting a story in Rotary Down Under about the ducks. So Ross and I will talk to each other about that and see if we can't get our club in the Rotary Down Under. A couple of reasons. A, it's good publicity, but also B, see if we can sell a couple of thousand of them and make some money.
That'd be excellent. That would be excellent. Yeah. No, that's a good idea, David. Thanks for doing that. Right. Now, has anyone got anything else to?
Last point, I'm currently doing 12-hour days for one of our guys went off on leave, and I'm now working on the ATO disaster. So if you can't get your tax return back, don't blame me, but we're trying to get it back on deck. So if I'm not as contactable as I have been in the past, I'm still okay in the evenings, but during the day, I'm absolutely flat out. So apologies if I don't respond early.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that, Ross, is that sort of for the immediate future, or is it sort of indefinitely?
Next month. I should be out of it in a month, but I suspect what's going to happen is I'm going to get stuck with running it for the next 3 months, because when the guy comes back, he'll say, "Oh, you're doing such a good job." I hope that he'll leave it with me.
Mm.
I'm meant to be going into defence in end of February, so we'll see what happens.
Mm.
Okay, right.
Okay.
What happened to the peace bell? What happened to the peace bell man?
The Peace Bell man is coming. He humbly apologised after the last disaster. He admitted that he did get the invite and he just forgot about it. It turns out he went to another Rotary Club on that night. However, he will be at our next meeting. And I've told him that I'll be online an hour beforehand to help him with any telephone computing troubles he has. So, he will be at our next meeting, which is not till 9th of February, 9th of Feb, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to ascertain the date. I put up on Facebook the roster I'd done for speakers, for people to work out speakers. And what I had done was to put them on for every second meeting. So there is a little leeway there. So we've always got a week's grace if we have a bit of a hiccup.
Mm.
And it also gives us time for business meetings if we need them.
Yeah. It's also it'll be an interesting talk, I think, the peace bell, but also one of Rotary's sort of unknown arms. Finding peace in the world and ways of getting peace in the world and so on. So quite an interesting arm of Rotary.
Yeah. Thank you. Right. Okay. Well, thanks to everyone for tonight for coming on board. Has anyone got anything to add? And otherwise, I think we might close the meeting.
Thank you.
Good one.
Thanks,
See you
David.
later, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy, everyone. See ya.
Happy Australia Day.
Thanks for